What's up, man?
Coolin', man.
This is Diandre Byfield. He's got a brand. It's called Under God.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn a little bit more about it today.
What's happening?
Man, so where are we? What is this place?
Man, bro, we are in Notre Dame's Cathedral. My old college that I dropped out of.
All right, man. Cleveland, Ohio.
Shout
There we
out
are.
to
All right.
school. They still show me love.
Yeah, man. So you were 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about what's going on in your life at the time.
At 14, I'm living with my mom. My pops and her weren't together at the time, but they was, he was in when he could be, you feel what I'm saying? And, it's just, like, my mom, she had a lot of personal issues going on, and, I kind of got into myself during that time. I spent a lot of time alone, and I kind of got used to just really just taking the time out to create. Like, that was my outlet, creating product, drawing, dancing. I'm dancing at that time, so like I had homies that I used to like crump dance with, so they would come pick me up from my house.
No way.
And then we would go to like the park in Bedford and go crump for like hours. We'd be at the park from like 2 p.m. to like 12 p.m.
No way.
I mean 12 a.m. or 1 o'clock at night. But we not just crumping, we hanging out, we kicking it. I'm the youngest, I'm 14, but they all like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm getting put on to all types of stuff, but that's me at 14.
Wow.
That's my life.
And so you get this idea for a brand. You mentioned you like to create specifically clothing line or like all kinds of stuff?
Create anything, art, design, anything, you know what I'm saying? Just come up with different designs and just create, man. And that's basically like how it all started for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you get the idea for this clothing brand.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you, like, where does it go from just a concept to a reality that you actually have some clothes?
Man, bro, I'll say like before I got any physical clothing, I'll say it was probably like 2 years of me just like playing on Photoshop, playing with Illustrator, learning, doing research, buying the name Under God, the trademark, Under God by Byfield at that. And, just like constantly just coming up with ideas until I want to say my senior year of high school. That's when I got my first sample, bro. I got it made out in LA.
Yeah.
Anybody that's ever got clothes made in LA, I pray for your pockets. Like, your pockets is done after you get done doing business in LA because it's so expensive. Like, I got like a sublimated t-shirt, and sublimation is basically when you have an all over print shirt and there's a whole bunch of ink on it. And I had got like gold zippers on the side of it. This is back when zippers was super high. And that sample was like $265.
Wow. For how many?
For one piece.
Oh my.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
You still have some of those?
I think the guy who made it for me, he might still have it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if he does. He might have destroyed it. I don't know. If he does have it, I would be surprised, and I would really like it back.
Yeah.
Art, wherever you are in this world, I would like myself. So run that, bro. T-shirts with the African print on the pocket, on the front pocket, and on the front, and we did them, and we sold out of them that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I want to say we had about 20, 30 shirts.
Yeah.
And then we had a good amount of people that came out and supported, so that was some money in my pocket.
Wow.
So I was happy about that.
That's awesome.
But I'll tell you one thing, I was so sensitive about the product, so like into myself about how I wanted things to get done. I didn't even sell any of like the cut and sew product I made, because I was so passionate about like, I don't know if you'll value this the way that I value it. I was still in that stage of where like I have my art and I didn't want anybody to like, of course I wanted to sell money. I would sell the t-shirts, I got those off easy, but like it was like they were so valuable to me because it was like I didn't even think that I could even make that stuff, you know. But now I'm at a place where it's like, hey, we actually have a business and things have to be reinvested.
Wow.
And we got to get things done, but
Goodness.
it was some time till we got to that point.
Wow. So What are some of the biggest things? Obviously, that's a huge thing that you learn along the way. But like, what are some of the biggest things that you have, like mindsets that you've changed from where you were back then to where you're at now?
You can't rush your process, and you can't try to be like anyone else. Embrace who you are. There's never gonna be another you. So it's like you can't try to be anybody else but yourself. You gotta love who you are, what God has made you to be. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I should put that on silence. But I think the biggest mindset change was like, yo, like, you're not in competition with anybody. You don't have anything to prove to anyone. Your life is your life. Live, breathe, get up. You've been through, like, not everybody can walk in your shoes. Not everybody can be who you are, because they're not you. You gotta embrace who you are and love who you are.
Wow, that's so good, man. So talk to me about the name. You mentioned that you had to go through getting the trademark.
Yeah,
Under
man.
God. Where did that come from? What's it
Man,
mean to
bro,
you?
like, I wish I could have been like, yo, like, listen, like, one of my homeboys came to me one day and just said, yo, under God. Like, but nah, like, honestly, it was like, yo, I prayed about it, and, like, I couldn't come up with a name for the longest. Like, I thought I was gonna name the brand, like, Street Kings, or, like, Dope, just Dope, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Or, like, Raw Clothing, like,
Yeah.
R-A-Dub, and then make it an acronym or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's all types of crazy clothing names, but, like, that was the name that I feel like God put on my heart, Under God. And tell you the truth, I didn't think of like the One Nation Under God thing. I didn't think about the Pledge of Allegiance or anything. It just came to me, Under God. And, when Under God came about, I called my mentor Ashley at the time, shout out to Ash, and he was like, bro, that's the name.
That's it.
Under God. And I was like, yeah, that's it. And before you knew it, that was my name, man.
Dang. And when was that?
That was, I think, so that came about around that age, 14, 15. Because I think, when did I start going to college? I started doing post-secondary. So I want to say like the name came into play around like my junior year, close to my junior year. I think it might have been my sophomore or junior year, that's when the name.
Okay.
But I started playing with the idea of having a clothing brand when I was 14. That's why I say Under God started in 09, because that's when I actually started thinking of having a brand, and I started like doing research on how to do it and stuff like that.
So you graduate high school. Just in your mind, it's just like, okay, college is the next step. Yeah. What do you study?
I went to college originally for international business.
Okay.
And I went to college when I was 16. I went here for post-secondary. But basically what happened was, like, when I got to college, supposed to be my sophomore year, because I did freshman to sophomore, that's what they call it. They said that my catalog was not valid, and the catalog had changed, and my credits were invalid or something like that. And they were like, yeah, we can count it towards it, but you're gonna have to take these classes. I'm like, well, I went into the program to basically be a sophomore when I got here, so why am I doing freshman stuff? Like, you should have had me do all this when I was taking those classes. But at the end of the day, it was a learning lesson. So when I got to college, I just became disinterested. I wasn't really, I had, mom had kicked me out, so she was like, you gotta go. So I stayed with my grandma for some time. And I just was not with the right people around that time, and I was just doing a lot of different things just to, not have to work a job and just to get money. And, I just thought it was more interesting to be out there than to be inside of a college classroom. And if I could go back, I probably wouldn't take anything back. I just think that if I would have been more motivated and more focused on what I was trying to do, I think I probably wouldn't have got myself into anything like that, you feel me?
Yeah. So what was the goal of being in international business?
So for me, was to do international business. But
Alright.
but the thing about it, what I realized was like, no cap, I'm not gonna even front with you. Like, I was sitting in one of those classes, like one of the international business courses, and I'm like, he's talking about having connections and like utilizing connections in Pakistan or using sources from China, and I'm doing this through my clothing brand. I had, by that time, I had basically built a solid network of different manufacturers overseas that I can work with to get my product made. And I'm like, I'm doing international business. Do I really need a degree for this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yo, like, when I go to these manufacturers, they're not like, you need a certification letter that should be like, you know, meant to like, it's like, nah, money is green. I want your money, so let's do business. And let's do a transaction so that we can continue to make more and more money. If you bring me money, I'll help you make more money. It's a fair exchange. You bring me money, I give you product. You give me money, I bring you product. Like, that's all they care about, you know what I mean? So it's like, I didn't need a piece of paper to define it. Not saying like college ain't cool, but like for me, I'm just like, yo, I'm a hands-on person. I gotta go out there. I gotta feel it. I gotta be in the midst of it. I can't just sit in a class and just hear somebody lecture about it. I need to see the action.
Dang, that's powerful stuff, man. And I agree that like it's not for everybody. It was for me.
Yeah.
Like I know that if I had not gone to college, the original goal for me was to just play music.
Yeah.
I was originally gonna go to school for music, and then I switched from that to business so that I could learn how to market myself as a musician. And bro, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know where to start. I didn't know, like, college taught me so much about myself and about where I want to be, and I ended up falling in love with business, and like I love the idea of business models and coming up with creative ways to be a marketer and things like that. So not only has that opened up a whole new door for me in my professional world, but like, and now I take the things to my videos, to my music, to all these things where, okay, I am starting a business. I haven't made any money yet. Come on, come on, folks, get on it. But you know, you got to start somewhere, and so I couldn't agree more that like I feel like you just need to read yourself, but college isn't for everybody.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like I did do like my 4 years. I went to, I did my 2 years of post-secondary. I just ain't got the piece of paper to define it. You know what I'm saying? I did my 2 years of post-secondary. Went to college for like the 2 years. Went to the Notre Dame. Then I went to Virginia Marty for like another 2 years. And I took my classes and I learned, you know what I'm saying? I still got my notes, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I sit and talk with older businessmen all the time, and they say, man, you just got to get out here in the field. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to get your hands dirty and figure it out, man. Because it's just like, that's just that I feel like my whole life I've always had to learn how to figure it out. Like, just figure it out. Like, when I told my mom, hey, I want to have a clothing brand, she's like, okay. Good job. Good luck on it. Like, all right, figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, just have to adapt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like my life has always been about having to adapt to certain situations, whether they're comfortable or uncomfortable. I have to be able to adapt to whatever situation God places me in. He's given me the tools to do that through His Word, through living for Him, through living with Him, and just learning to just be adaptable to all situations in life, man. And I feel like the more that we learn how to adapt, the more we can be able to be successful in whatever we do.
Dang, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah, man.
Come on, brother. I think that like, that's all good stuff. So you mentioned a couple times your mom being so influential, your grandma being so influential, and then mentors and everything. How important do you think it is to have mentorship, to have people to look up to? And
that was college.
Seek that out.
That was my college. I feel like me gaining more mentors, and I still have mentors. I still have older guys that I go and talk to that have been in the business for 20, 30 years, and I just sit down and listen to them talk.
How do you get connected with them?
Man, I go out and I meet people, but also another mentor may lead to another one. One of my other mentors who mentored me since I was 14 introduced me to this other guy who's been in the business for 20, 30 years, had been like this guy's owned several Harley Davidson, dealerships, and he also has owned multiple stores in different cities, California, Denver, Colorado.
Wow.
He's really done these things, done major events, worked with major artists. He's done crazy events, but it's all happened through just being a good mentee, listening, learning, not burning the bridge, you know? Like, I think a lot of times, like, we may feel some type of way with a relationship, and we just burn that bridge. But if it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, hey, give them some distance, but don't burn that bridge. You know what I mean? Because you never know who that person's connected to that you may need to be connected to in the future.
Yeah.
I feel like your connections become your transactions, bro. They really do.
Man, just like, I gotta make a list of all these like one-liners that you're doing.
Hey,
so
man.
good.
Hey, man.
They're so good.
This is something that I'm learning, man. I'm learning and
Yeah.
I'm growing, man. You know, I'm about to be 25 this year.
Yeah.
And for me,
Same. I didn't know we were
for
saying
real?
age, yeah.
Oh, that's what's up, dog. You know what I mean? That's what's up, dog. But, yeah. But, like, that's
When's your
just
birthday?
June 2nd.
November.
For
See,
real?
You got me by a little bit.
Oh, for real? No, that's what's up. That's crazy, bro. No,
sweet.
but, like, that's really where I'm at. I'm about to be 25. I feel like from 18 to, like, now, I had to really learn how to adapt.
Yeah.
And I really had to make a shift in my lifestyle, the way that I was living and the way that I was doing things. And, you know, I'm still making shifts. I'm still making changes as everybody else is. But, like, this is the year where I feel like it's just time to really just show up and just go out and just step out on faith and really get focused about where we want to be.
That's right.
You know, like, where do you want to be? What do you want out of your life? You know, and that's just where I'm at, man. I'm asking myself those tough questions every day.
That's a tough question.
You know,
And it changes.
it does.
But there's always like something at the root. You gotta seek that out.
Mm-hmm.
To find what that is. So
Digging deep.
you leave college.
Yeah.
First of all, that decision within itself, like that's gotta be a scary decision.
Oh, bro, it was scary. But I'm gonna tell you this, bro. I was so caught up in what I was doing at the time. I was like, I'm about to make this money, and I don't really care about. Like, I literally just stopped going to class, and I was just like, yo, like, all right, you know, people I was doing things with, they were just like, hey, like, we making this money over here, so I feel you on college, but if you not with me, you're not gonna make this money.
Yeah.
And me being young, not really knowing what's best for me at the time, I was just like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna go and do whatever.
Oh, my mama would have killed me.
Oh, she would. Like, my mom was pissed when she found out that
Yeah.
I wasn't going to school. She always would say, go back to school, go back to school.
Yeah.
And I did, and my grandmother did help me to get back in school. She did help me go back to Virginia Marty, but then I started working full time. You know, when I finally started working. When I got a real job, because I was doing a lot of odd jobs, working at the factory, working at all these different places, and then I got my job at Quicken Loans. I tell people, like, me getting that job at Quicken Loans probably saved my life.
Wow.
Because, like, I needed that. I needed some type of stability for myself.
Consistency.
Something that was consistent, because me doing all these little odd jobs, doing this here, doing that there, having my hand in this, having my hand in that, it just was not a good look for me. And I needed something that was just stable enough to really help me get in a better position. And the Quicken Loans did that, man. So me getting that job, man, and me being there for as long as I had, man, it's really helped a lot, you know? So, yeah.
Are you originally from Detroit?
I'm from Cleveland.
Because your phone number is Detroit.
I got a 313 number. Everybody gets on it. I'm Cleveland for life, bro.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Cleveland. Cleveland, bro.
Okay.
Cleveland. I was born and raised in
Come
Cleveland.
on.
This is where I'm from. Okay, you can ask everybody that know me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was born here. I was born in
Okay.
Cleveland, Ohio. I believe I was born at Cleveland Clinic downtown. So that's what my birth certificate say.
Okay, all right. I was wondering because the number came up.
Yeah.
And I thought, I figured it was someone from Quicken Loans, but.
I mean, they gave me a work issue phone, so I just
Okay.
utilized that.
Okay. Man, I gotta get one of those. I
Oh,
want
hey,
one of
hey,
those.
hey, man.
Yeah.
You know, benefits.
That's right.
Bro, benefits.
And that's where we met. We met at Quicken
met at
Loans. That's
Quicken
where I
Loans,
worked as well.
And we work together, man. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, to be honest, so this is the crazy thing. You were introduced to us on the first day, because you had
Yeah.
come in and take pictures of all of us
Yeah.
for IDs. But I didn't take much notice. And you mentioned you did some kind of clothing line or something. But again, it's just like, okay, like this is my first day. I got to focus on what I got to focus on.
Yeah.
And then I remember like 4 or 5 months into the job, I'm out in this area and I see on a coat rack a jacket hanging that says Jesus Saves.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, I don't know too many Christians in this office.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was curious on whose jacket it was, and then before I noticed, like I get back in my day, and then I look over and it's gone. I was like, oh, I didn't get to see who grabbed the jacket, so I just waited. A couple days later, it appears again. And I was like, okay, there's a jacket back on there. And I keep watching, and like 2 or 3 days happen where I just can't, I wasn't looking at the right time to see who was picking up this jacket. I was like, man, I just like really want to see who was wearing a Jesus Saves jacket, because I didn't know it was your brand either. I just figured it was some like generic thing that somebody bought somewhere, like I don't know. And then I don't remember where it was, but I saw you with the sweatshirt on. I was like, that's Diandre.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shoot. And so it didn't click for me that it was your brand until I was like, okay, he loves the Lord. I'm gonna just find him on Instagram, whatever. And I find you on Instagram. And there's your brand.
Yeah.
And there's Jesus Saves all over the place. I was like, that's what, like, it all connected.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he talked about owning a brand. I saw the sweatshirt all the time. That's him. He loves the Lord. Just like clicked.
It all came together.
Oh,
That's how
my
God
goodness.
moves, man.
Oh, it was so cool.
And I'm so humbled, man. You know, you purchased one from me. You purchased one of the Jesus Saves. Extremely
Represent.
limited, by the way.
Represent.
I just hope you know how limited that jacket
I'm
is.
thankful.
Like,
I know that some of them were blue, but
some
I haven't
are
seen
blue.
any other black ones.
Nah, they're so limited.
Oh my
and I did that on purpose. There's gonna be more colorways too. But
Praise
like,
the Lord.
hey man, it's just I'm humbled that you asked me to be a part of this. And you know, when I'm at work, I try my best to be loving, caring, you know, and just be a representative of what Christ wants us to be.
Yeah.
And you know, the brand, man. I feel like if I never got that job, I wouldn't have been able to do for the brand what I'm doing now. And it's been a humbling experience. I'm finally at a place to where I feel like in a few years or so, maybe even in a year, you know, I'll be doing this full time.
Full time.
You know what I mean? That's the goal, bro.
So,
that's the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 weeks from now, SneakerCon's coming up.
Big.
Tell me about it.
I have never, in my time of SneakerCon or seeing it, heard of anyone doing a collaboration with someone at SneakerCon. I'm doing a collaboration with this guy named Rax Hogan.
You heard it here first?
Heard it here first.
Who's
Rax
Rax?
Hogan. Rax Hogan is a crazy guy, but I love that dude. He's from Akron, but he lives in New York.
Yeah.
He works for a magazine, a small, petite magazine called Complex.
Okay.
Okay.
Never heard of that one. Is
You know
that
what I mean?
everywhere?
I don't know. I think it's just all over the world. I think it's just a global
A small,
magazine,
petite
basically.
magazine,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So he works for them,
Yeah.
and he does, you know, several shows. You know, a couple small shows.
Kind of a big deal.
Maybe this show called Total Takedown.
Okay.
He does the other one called Get in Line.
Oh
you know,
my
maybe a couple
goodness.
of views on them. You know, maybe 30, 100K.
Not as many as my YouTube videos, but like maybe.
Something small. He's not that big. He's not. I'm just
Right,
playing.
right.
But so we got a big collab happening
Rax
with his
Hogan.
brand called Gray Skull. And under God, man,
That's Gray Skull.
That's
I saw
Gray
you
Skull.
posting about
Yeah,
that.
we've been
Okay.
posting about it.
Again, it's all coming together.
And I met this guy last year.
Wow.
At SneakerCon. Another evidence of what God can do.
Yeah.
Like, I went to SneakerCon with my product, didn't know people would gravitate to it, and bro, I sold out of mostly everything.
Wow.
All I had left was hats.
That's awesome.
And bro, when I tell you, like, God showed up, I met Rax. He's like, yeah, man, let's connect. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, man, you doing your thing. I love it, man. I'm from Akron, you know. And we had a good conversation, and, you know, I thought that, you know, a lot of times when you meet influencers and they're like, let's connect, you like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna connect, but like, he really connected with me, and we had dialogue, and then he hit me up earlier this year and was like, yo, you ready for this collab? And I'm like, yeah. And like, we did it, man. We did these tees. They gonna come out really dope. I hope y'all get a chance to see them. And you know, this collab, man, is gonna drop exclusively at SneakerCon. Like, if you not at SneakerCon this year, I don't know how you're gonna get it. You might see it again, maybe, but like, It's gonna be a big deal.
Wow.
We dropping that, and plus I'm dropping part 2 of Prodigal Son too. So yeah.
Wow. So, what's Prodigal Son?
Prodigal Son. We didn't even get a chance to talk about Prodigal Son.
Let's
So
get to it.
I left college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I left church too. I left church. I left my mother's house, and I stopped going to church for a while. I would go because my grandma's really big in the church. She's probably the reason why I do go to church. Not now, but why I started going to church. I just felt out of place. You know, I had got engaged to a girl when I was like 18, and it was kind of embarrassing. And a lot of people in the church were like judging us for it, and we kind of got like looked down upon from her. Not from her church. Her church was a little bit more nurturing than mine was. I actually go to her church now. She doesn't go there anymore, but I go to that church full time now. I still got love for my church, but like that situation kind of distasted me from church, and I stopped going to church and started hanging around with a lot of my homies, and you know they wasn't into the best things at the time, and you know Prodigal Son is basically my story from that, and what I was chasing an identity. I think a lot of times in our generation, we're having an identity crisis, especially people our age. We're trying to be something that we're not, something that we've seen on TV, something that we grew up seeing. We may have seen people who were in the street and be like, yo, I want to be a street dude, da-da-da. You may not say that out with your words, but with the way that you put them on a pedestal, you have a certain type of admiration for them. They get money fast, they got clothes, they got shoes, they got women. You want to be that. So when I was that age, that's what I wanted to be. And I think from 18 to probably like 22, until I really got until I really got back into church like that. It was through a friend of mine named Jamil. Shout out to Millie. He got me back into church real heavy, man. And my pastor, my original pastor, Pastor Tony, he used to always be like, come to church, come see me, you know, come over my house. Like, he really would do community with me. Wow. That's really what helped me to get back on the right track. Prodigal Son was just me talking about my lost period, and you know, and just really realizing that no matter how far gone you are, no matter how messed up you feel you are, no matter how jacked up you are, it's nothing that we can do. It's nothing that we can muster up. It's no amount of good deeds that we can make that can add up to the grace that God has for us. He still loves us, even when we're running away, even when we're messing up, even when, you know, God loves people that will never love him. He loves people that will never serve him, never pray to him, never say Jesus, never even believe in him. He loves people that won't even ever muster up his name, people that curse his name. He still loves them. That's how crazy his love is for us. And that is what Prodigal Son is all about. Collection 5 from under God, man. And I just want to exemplify that through the clothing. That's why you see Jesus Saved so big on our clothes, because I want everybody to see it, because he saved my life and he can save yours too, if you believe.
Powerful stuff. It went from just like practical powerful to like the gospel, man.
That's it, bro. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to anybody, like, the gospel's so powerful, and the fact that you can show it through clothing.
Yeah, man.
Like, there are people that show the gospel through architecture, through music, through dance. Like, there's so much more. Like, there's so many ways to. Specifically, I've been reading a lot of Daniel lately, and where Daniel was a slave. I mean, he was called a slave, but he was a slave in the palace. And he was accustomed to their traditions, but he knew where to draw the line. And oddly enough, he drew the line at eating their food. But I think in the same way that as we are citizens of heaven, you know, the Bible says that so many times that we're citizens of heaven, but we live in this world, that we can be a light in the culture, and that we're not completely against everything that is done in the world, but we just believe something differently than what the world believes. And so like we can still create incredible clothes, incredible music, incredible dancing and architecture, and like look at where we're at right now.
The gospel has no box.
I mean, yeah, right on.
It has no box.
And so to be able to create those things inspired by the Creator,
Come on, man.
like if anybody should be doing it, it should be us as believers.
Come on.
And so you are, you're 22. Everyone's encouraging you to come back to church. What would you say to anybody here? You mentioned about the engagement, how people weren't treating you super well. Anybody that hasn't been treated the best by the church, and that's what that is what made them turn away from the church.
Man, I would just say, man, listen, the world's not going to show you that much love either. And a lot of times we think that we can numb our pain through doing several different activities. Maybe it's drinking, maybe it's smoking, maybe it's having sex, maybe it's, being in the streets, maybe it's hanging out with the wrong people, maybe it's committing crime, maybe it's just being aggressive or just cutting everybody off or just secluding yourself. Like, none of that is going to help you ease that pain that you're going through. None of that is going to give you peace. None of that is going to bring you hope. None of it is going to reach what you need. We all need a father. We all need nurturing. We all need to get back to connected. And the thing about it is, what I realized is that church is not a building. Church is what we're doing right now. Church is community.
Come on.
Church is us coming together as believers, as one, and helping to put forth the gospel. We have one main purpose, and it's to bring Christ glory while we're here on earth. That's our sole mission, to bring him glory and to bring more people closer to him. And with that being said, it's like a lot of times I think we just get so caught up within ourselves of what we want to, what we aspire to be, that we lose focus of what God has planned for our lives, because it's even greater than what we can even think of or even muster within ourselves, man.
Getting butterflies, man. I'm so encouraged right now.
Oh,
like,
bro.
It's so
good. You good.
So you mentioned,
Yeah.
oh man. So you mentioned, you drop out of college, you just do it. Like I know a lot of Christians and preaching to the choir, guilty of this for sure, who will say, well, I haven't heard God say like that's what I'm supposed to do yet. I haven't, and so we just kind of wait and we don't make any moves. But as somebody who has chosen to act, what is any kind of advice that you could give to just somebody who just isn't sure whether or not to pull the trigger?
If God has placed it inside you, and it's something that is a burning passion, and we all know what it is inside of us, we got to listen to the spirit of discernment that we all have. If it's something that's burning deep inside you, and it's something that's convicting to your spirit, like I was convicted to make more product that has Jesus Saves on it. Not because, hey, it's going to sell and we can open up to different markets and we can get it in more churches. No, because this is a mission. This is about bringing Christ glory. This is about reaching souls. This is not about sales. If it's a passion that you have, that God's planted inside of you, what you're passionate about, your gifts will make room for you. It says that in His Word. If we are able to recognize that that passion is a God-given gift that we have, that gift that we have is inside of us, that's from God, we have to tap into that. If we don't know what to do, we should go there first. We should go there first and then pray about it and then really give it to God. Give that gift over to Him and say, Lord, what should I do with this? Because even when I was going through what I was going through, when I wasn't in church, when I wasn't doing that, I was still making samples for Under God. I was still trying to do shows here and there. I was living two different type of lives. I was doing pop-up shops and fashion shows and talking to kids, but I was going out and drinking and kicking it on the weekends and getting drunk out of my mind. Like, I'll be honest with you, I think I'm about, like, I think I'd be close to like a year sober, man. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like.
So unfortunately, the audio in the last 5 minutes completely cut out, and I have no idea why. But go check out Diandre. Huge shout out to him. Awesome time doing the video. All of his stuff is super cool. Go check it out. I think the moral of the story that we can all take away from this is it's important to fail and to make mistakes, but it's way more important to get mentors that they have already made the mistakes and just learn from them. Take notes from people, seek wise counsel, and work hard. That's it for today. Go make the world a better place.